court ruling. We'll give you more details about that because it is a developing story. Now, from Mombasa County, we head straight to Nakuru, where interreligious leaders are carrying out consultations on the set guidelines set for reopening of the churches in the region. Our Alan Ochanda is on this story and now joins us live with an update. Alan Ochanda, good morning. So it is mixed reactions. Some churches have already told their congregants they're not opening. Others are saying that it's a matter of wait. We're just waiting for Sunday and we're good to go. What is the situation like in Nakuru County?
Well, Brenda, remember at the onset of the breaking of the COVID-19 virus in the country, we saw the constitution of an interfaith council on the national response to the coronavirus in the country that was led by Bishop Anthony Muheria. And so his team is here in Nakuru today, where it's consulting, where it's also sensitizing here church leaders from different denominations on the protocols and guidelines, and also ensuring that they form the county monitoring and compliance team here to ensure that when the churches will now be resuming to full operations, because remember that the guidelines here were that only 100 congregants will be allowed in the church in any given session. So remember that in the last 2 weeks we've been seeing on the days they have been going to the churches, but some churches have now opted to just conducting the masses even during the week. We've seen some churches here in Nakuru, they have been conducting the masses on a daily basis, but just restricting themselves to the required maximum number of 100 congregants per session. So the team here is just to ensure that they take, of course, the grievances from the church leaders here from different denominations, and also ensure they give them the guidelines and protocols that should be the roadmap towards ensuring that when the time comes that the churches will now be given the green light to conduct their masses as been the tradition, then they will be having those guidelines and protocols that will be given to them today by the team that is representing Bishop Anthony Muheria, who is not here with us, but of course the meeting is already underway here, and so we're just waiting after the meeting. Maybe they brief us on the deliberations here, because remember that also the county representatives are also inside, because they are the men on ground who are supposed to ensure that compliance is actually adhered to, because it's something that is national-wide. But also remember that it's not to the Christian faithfuls, but also we have the Hindus here and the Muslim brothers who are already in the hall here just meeting the team that is representing Bishop Anthony Muheria. Brenda.
So how are they going to ensure that it's 100 people, Ochanda, because there's so many, some churches where the congregation number is beyond 100 and it's only an hour per service?
Well, Brenda, there is no church that has congregants who are less than 100. They are actually in thousands, but it now seems that the first 100 to arrive at the church entrance are the persons who shall be taking part, who shall be partaking in the church sessions. But remember that the 100 people that have been prescribed to be in the church at any given session include even the clergy. And so by the priority is actually given to the church leaders, and then the congregants who shall be given the second priority. But all in all of them have to add up to 100. So it's a restriction. And the church leaders, of course, remember that the evangelical churches and, of course, the Pentecostal churches have been restricting themselves to that number, because remember that if you flout that requirement, then your respective church will be blocked or stopped from conducting those masses, because of course you are endangering the lives of those who are actually congregating in your church. So all the churches that we've just taken a spot check during the Sundays and of course the weekdays when they are conducting their masses, we can actually authoritatively report that they have been observing the restriction and the requirement to just have 100 congregants at any given time when they are in session. Brenda.
Alan Ochanda, lastly, of concern to some congregants is the age that the president talked about, especially when it comes to the older congregation, saying that anyone above 58 years is not allowed. But then some of the church leaders, their pastors, are beyond this age group. So what happens?
Well, Brenda, those are the fears that the church congregants and the church leaders were expressing, because remember that most of the church leaders are above 58 years, and so it was really a tricky affair for them, because remember that now those who are above 58 and of course in the rural areas cannot even follow the church proceedings via Zoom, or they have not really embraced technology, and so it they've really been expressing their dissatisfaction and, of course, their displeasure with their requirement. But, of course, it's for their own good. And we've been carrying out spot checks, and we can tell you that nobody above 58 or else the elderly have not been going to church. But they say, given an opportunity, they are not just going to the church. They are not just going to the church out of their own volition, but they are saying it's because of the requirement that they do not go there. But they really wish that they would have done so. But remember that these are requirements from the Ministry of Health, and so the president just implementing this is an advisory from the Ministry of Health that the president is now giving to the security agency to ensure that it's implemented. And so as a presidential order directive, it must be observed, of course, being implemented by the security agencies. And most of the churches we've seen at the entrance on their church days, we've seen security officials, security agencies just manning the premises of the church and ensuring that the elderly do not even access, and also the required number is the one that is only allowed in the church compound and the premises, of course. Brenda.
Alano Chanda, thank you so much. A developing story